Swamp Rebellion. Don't forget to check us out on social media and at dsrtalks.com.
You know, I'm glad you two are so fucking happy and Phil's not here.
Dude, I'm sorry about what
Your
happened.
attitude is shit.
My attitude is shit. My attitude's never shit.
I'm in mourning right now because we have an empty seat.
It's nighttime. How are you in morning time? It, like...
There you go.
What?
You have no respect, bruh.
Look, man, I know he's not here. This is not Phil. I like to play the soundboard. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and
Man, if
love you, buddy.
Man, if only he could hear you.
I pointed up because he's not with us anymore.
He doesn't walk the earth anymore.
Phil has moved on. I regret having to say this, but we deeply miss the guy. He's in a better place.
He's just no longer with us.
He's not with us anymore.
Where you at, Phil? You son of a bitch! I hate you. You just have to go on to a better place where they got a lot of fat women and they're all black.
He's in heaven here. He really is.
It's not fat women. Remember, it's all BBW supersize.
Supersize. I'm
You're
sorry.
right. Yeah, we can't.
I'm not trying to fat shame you, fat fucking whores.
In his honor, we have to make sure we calibrate and adjust to his means because they are BBWSS. Mm-hmm. That is his jam. That was his jam.
I don't know why when I hear
continues
that,
wanting to jam.
When I hear those letters like that, it makes me feel like I should be like on the side of a warship. I'm a soldier on the BBWSS.
No, you're absolutely right.
We're just going to start firing full-timers. That's what it's going to come down to. Full-timers are going to go to part-time, and part-time's going to go to sometime.
Yeah.
That's what $15 an hour wage does.
No, what $15 an hour wage does is that it reduces the hours of the people working the below 15-hour wage line. And at the end of the day, with your hours reduced, with a higher rate of pay, you're still going to be going home with the same amount on your fucking check. Nothing's going to change. Your hours are going to be cut.
But am I working less a week?
Yes, you will be.
Yeah, you're going to work
I'm
less a week.
technically
So
okay with that.
You're making the same money, though.
I mean, dude, if I'm getting more free time to fuck off for more in my life, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but it's like at the same time, like a lot of us
Everything
have
else gets
kids,
more
mortgage, bills,
Right.
rent.
I said that's the only other thing that can happen is the cost of everything else goes up. The cost of
the positive gain
things to buy, you know.
Well, the positive gain to that is going to be either neutral or a negative zero or a negative positive, which means that your pay will go up, your pay will stay the same, your hours will reduce. That will also drastically decrease your buying power of your money.
Yeah.
No, that's fucked. Andrew Yang is currently doing a fiscal experiment of doing $1,000 a month to a bunch of random families, like up north, I believe in Montana or one of the Dakotas.
You're right.
Out of his own pocket. And his comparison is the comparison of that. Everyone at the end of the tax season in Alaska gets $1,000. That $1,000 comes from the profit of the oil companies, that are up there in Alaska, either fracking or whatever. He wants to apply that same concept to the rest of the country. Now, my theory is that I do qualify for stamps. I did not apply for stamps because it's not more of a prideful thing, but I'm managing with the current rate of pay I currently have.
Because you's a real man.
I'm a real man. No, that has nothing to do with this. Like I'm in a situation where my bills are neutral.
I'm supporting a woman going through college, and I don't have food stamps or any government assistance.
And you wiped their ass.
I sure did.
With 2-ply toilet paper, mind you.
Yeah.
All right.
I guarantee at that time it was single ply, son.
No, don't get me wrong. I think that $1,000 a month to every household will be beneficial if you look at the small term. However, if you look at companies that own property, like property management companies, like the apartment companies or any other companies, like whether it be retail, manufacturer, or other, it's not gonna reduce the cost of their services or goods like rent. It's actually gonna drive the cost up, and that's what my fear is, that if everyone across the board got $1,000 extra a month, a month from the government, which sounds awesome. Give me my free fucking money. Okay, that sounds nice for now, but long term wise, that's going to cause your rent to go up, or you're still going to be continuing struggling.
Right.
But where's the $1,000 a month coming from?
Well, that's going to come from like increased taxes as a whole.
Okay.
It's like a sales tax on
you're-
It's a sales
electronics
tax on
and
top of the
consumer
sales tax.
shit
So
like
you
that.
get $1,000, but then you get taxed on that same 1,000 you're getting.
Well,
so the
yes.
government gets it right back.
If you buy
Exactly,
that stuff.
because it's a form of government. It's a form of government assistance that counts as income. You have to pay income tax. It's the biggest sham ever in U.S. history. The income tax was actually started to help fund the Civil War back in the 1860s.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be abolished, and it never fucking was, and we still paying that shit.
And that's why there's no such thing as a temporary tax height. A temporary tax is always going to be a tax, no matter how you dress it or sugarcoat it. Okay.
That's why I hate to say it, Louisiana, that even though y'all got some of the best red fishing around, bro, the minute that Dank Swamp Rebellion takes off, we heading straight to Texas because they don't have no income tax over there.
Well, like not only that, I actually had a customer at the retail store I work at. Name will remain anonymous for the fact that I still work for them. I had a customer that came in out of state. The state was Georgia. Their tax code there is 7%. State of Louisiana, depending on what parish, aka county you live in, it's going to vary.
10 or whatever. Right?
Yeah, like
No, we're like almost 11 now, man.
Oh, we're 11 because like a few months ago I was under the impression that we're at like 99.5%.
It keeps creeping, dog.
It keeps on creeping.
They creep
Absolutely right. And I had a customer that says, "No, I don't want to buy this product from you today, not because of the name on our door, but because she was a paying customer from a different state with a lower tax code.
Right.
Our taxes in our particular county and/or parish is at 10%. State of Georgia." Flat across the board, it will range between 7 and 8%, depending on what part of the state you're in.
Okay.
It's significantly lower than the state of Louisiana. I would go to Florida, where their sales tax there is about 6%. That encourages me as a purchaser, customer, and a buyer to purchase more because I don't feel limited. Even though we're talking about a couple of dollars, that's a couple of dollars that can go to my kids' mouth or to a car.
Your mouth.
All of a sudden,
My
Phil
mouth.
has kids.
Yeah.
that he feeds.
That I feed on a daily basis. What do I feed them? Bullshit.
Well, I don't know, man. It's fucking hard enough to just afford to feed yourself.
Exactly.
You
It
know?
is
Much
bullshit.
less fucking children.
Even if you look at the analysis of whether or not to like eat out, giggity, or purchase groceries, the cost at the end of the day, depending on what you're prepping or eating or consuming, is going to be about the same.
Yeah. That's what's sickening. It wasn't like that when I was a kid.
No, it wasn't, because $10 of buying power was awesome. Like you go to like electronics store back in the 90s with $10. What that gave you? A fucking washing machine, dryer, and then maybe a new Britney Spears CD.
And then you got to do the thought pocket when you got home.
A hot pocket?
No, a thought pocket.
A thought pocket. Polly Pocket?
When you bite into the crust, it has a little bit of panty juice inside.
So that's going to do some pretty wild things to fast food then.
Well, yeah,
they get paid in
Everything's
the
gonna be
fucking gutter.
automated, dude.
Like the problem with that
They're
is
gonna cut all this employment. That way, they could automate all these systems.
I mean,
and
I
you'll
know-
have a few people that are gonna man the whole restaurant.
I mean-
and they'll have to have engineering backgrounds in order to take care of the
And
machine work.
maintenance and all of this shit, yeah.
Absolutely.
Which even now that I'm a bigger conspiracy theorist now, I think this is the way that the Democrats
This is
are
the way.
combating. It is the way that the Democrats are combating Trump's presidency for the next election, is because now if all these companies immediately start cutting all these people start getting fired, it's going to look like the employment rate has plummeted again. And so that combats the numbers in polls, because now you're going to have outraged people that are getting fired. Well, you got what you wanted, but you didn't get what you wanted. That's the whole premise of getting your cake and not eating it.
Exactly. There's two sides to this coin, both literally and figuratively, right?
Right.
Because no matter what change you decide to implement, there are repercussions for that change, whether it be a good thing up front or whether it be a good thing like coming down the line. Something on the other end of that is going to happen too. So with the good comes the bad.
Yeah.
You try to negate as much bad as possible, but it's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
Like, I no longer have to combat against 1,000 other people who want to be a cashier for McDonald's. I now have to get some kind of, I don't know, probably basic certification on how to deal with whatever software runs the fucking kiosk itself.
You're right.
Like know how to change out maybe the screen, how to teach people how to fucking use a touchpad kind of thing.
That kind of shit.
You know?
Basically, yes.
And that's going to be, so let's say you put 4 of those kiosks in that McDonald's. Now there's just one person manning those 4 stations instead of 4 people manning the 4 stations.
Exactly.
And now that person has to be even a higher cut above the other 3 because those 4 people are fighting for that same fucking job.
Exactly.
Right.
But if you have the qualifications to be able to do that, you're going to be a shoo-in. Not everyone has that shit.
But that's where operations in the world takes over. Because the day of man-to-man sales is dead.
Because isn't the incentive for them to do stuff like that, though, is tax write-offs?
You can do,
for donations and charitable act,
yeah, donation charitable act, but this is gonna be like a additional government mandated tax instead of like a sales tax or anything like that.
But what's the one stitcher? What's the one thing that stitches every single one of these theories together?
Money. At the end of the day, it's
right.
money.
It's tax money, though. It's not just money.
Yeah.
It's not like this fairy money that just appears on a fucking
Right.
table.
That'd be nice.
Taxpayer money that comes out of our pockets.
Yeah.
Hardworking Americans that love their country, and we're paying for it. But we're not just paying for it. We're paying for that. We're paying for welfare. We're paying for food stamps. We're paying for all these extracurricular things. We're paying for transgender surgeries. Where does it end?
That would be in the $1,000.
Where does it end?
The problem is, it's not going to end.
That all come from the $1,000 you get a month. Seriously, that's what he's proposing.
Yeah.
Everything that you're getting, as far as the government's handing out to you, becomes that $1,000, and you do what you
distribute
want
it
as
however.
you wish.
Exactly.
If
It's
you
like a
are-
trust fund.
If you're over 18 years old,
Be nice.
and you're able and you're working and able-bodied, you could get that as just being a citizen.
If you
That's where
listen
he's
to,
coming from.
If you listen to any wealth management authority, they will always tell you that over 80% of the nation does not know how to manage money.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're telling me that you're giving 80% of the nation my tax dollars that you're expecting them to do the right thing with, invest and make it more, and it'll never happen. Because you know how it will happen? It'll happen by buying and selling more illegal drugs on the street, because that's where the money is.
That's where the money's going to go, too.
Yeah. Period.
So what they won't
you're
do
absolutely
is
right.
they won't shut down the cartel, legalize marijuana for people that actually need it, and
Give us-
instead they're going to let the drug cartel take over by opening the borders.
But yeah, you're right, man. It's when you look at it from such a fucking straight and narrow perspective, you're gonna always have an issue like this.
Yeah.
No matter what. If you're not open-minded enough to understand other oppositions, you'll never fucking succeed in any of this shit. I mean, how you think that any fucking strategy is conducted? You look at both sides. You have to.
Exactly, and it's like you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Right. And the fact that we have to live it, yeah, it sucks. But we're past that now. We are living it. If you just cried about shit that was fucked up every day, you would never get anything done. Which a lot of you fuckers are. And that's what it is. But at the same time, I mean, if you can't fucking wrap your head around something, don't try to explain it. That's what pisses me off.
Right.
It's kind of not your field, you know?
Why the fuck would I talk about molecular biology when I don't know dick about molecular biology?
Well, you see, that's your fuck up, because Joe Biden said this week that we shouldn't have a coal industry, right? So the fix for that is there's no reason why a coal miner can't learn code. There's no reason why a man or a person that shovels coal into a furnace can't learn to write code.
Dude, I know it's
That's
only
the-
a couple letters off from coal and code, but it's not the same shit. It really isn't. You know?
Apparently anybody can do it, bro. You can pull somebody out the coal mine and put them writing code at Google.
I
That
kind
is-
of believe that almost anyone could do anything, but at the same time, that's not even halfway true. You know,
Well,
like
you won't
not
be great at it. You
no
won't be
one-
the best at it.
Yeah, if you have the will to do it, yeah, you'll be able to do it, but you're not gonna do it well.
No, but going back to what you said about Biden telling coal miners learn to coal, I find that to be the most insulting thing a presidential candidate can tell anyone's constituents. Period.
But okay, so imagine I'm a coal miner, right? I did
Okay.
it for about 5 years.
Okay.
And then, like I did with the whole electrical industry, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't just go to school and learn code if I have the capacity to learn something.
No, like
No. It's not about that. He's just saying, like, if we're going to strip the whole coal industry and, like, it's not a big deal.
Repurpose a whole fucking industry
Yeah, everybody
as a
who's involved.
different trade altogether.
And I'm not talking about the
that's
younger
There's no reason why a
crowd.
coal miner can't learn code.
Okay, so it actually is more feasible, sad to say, to just fire all the coal miners and create
It's more feasible to
robotics to
understand.
do the code.
How
It's
That's
more,
easier to do and cheaper.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
more feasible to understand that Joe Biden has dementia.
Right, I'm 100% with you on that. He looks whacked.
All
the
sniffing
fuck
on Greta
out.
Van Thunberg, whatever her name is.
It's all that super glue.
That's just holding his hair on his head.
Yeah, man, it
Kinda
gets
wonder
rough. It gets rough when you get older.
It kind of makes you wonder who's Bernie Sanders' hairstylist, because he comes out looking
None.
like a combination of Doc Brown and Einstein without the IQ level.
I usually just hang my head out of my Lotus on the way to the office.
But like, no, what I mean by insulting, I'm like, let's say, for example, we're dealing with, second, third, fourth generation coal miners. That's all they know how to do. Let me put this as a comparison to the local.
All right, let's just say they were
Businesses here.
first, second, third generation beet farmers.
I was gonna say crabmen, fishermen, or oil guys here
No, let's
that
go
we have.
beet farmer.
All right, let's go beet farmers. That's all they know. And for you to like close up their industry for environmental reasons, which is understandable, but insult them saying, but blatantly insult them by saying, get with the times, learn how to code. They don't know. They're not technically savvy whatsoever. What they're gonna do? How they gonna find out how to do that? They're not. If we're talking about like 55 and up or 40s and up men that only know how to do this one particular trade, and you tell them how to learn how to do that, that's fucking
Yeah,
insulting.
but you know what? Forget about that trade. Anything.
Yeah.
What gives you the right to say the environment needs you to stop doing this as a trade and go find something else to fucking do because we think so?
It depends on the level of how catastrophic it would be to continue doing that.
I haven't seen acid rain yet, and that's all I care about.
But you get what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
want acid
though?
rain either.
I understand.
When do you draw the line?
You draw the line and you understand that the earth has been heating and cooling for thousands and thousands of years, and it's never going to stop doing that. We're not speeding it up. We're not slowing it down. It is what it is.
Oh, so you don't believe that
No.
at all?
No.
Okay. All right.
I believe in local pollution. Yes, I do believe in that.
And this-
I don't believe in polluting the waters. I do believe that oil spills and things of that nature, uncontained, are bad. I understand what it does to those ecosystems. Okay, I understand like putting toxins into the air is not good to breathe in, but to say like that they have this magical way of finding these invisible holes in an ozone layer because man has caused us from driving SUV. I can't believe that. They've never ever once given a fact. Not once. It's always been the theory of global warming, never a fact of global warming. So give me a fact and I may consider it, but nobody can do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna dander at that one. Rising tides, water, and diminishing of the coastal lines here, especially affecting the state of Louisiana. So the further south you get from
The
where we are,
magnetic pole of the moon makes the water go up and down like this.
also so does the magnetic pole of the sun as well too. The sun also plays in way with tides. Now, however, I'm not just talking about rising and lowering of tides. I'm also talking about the diminishing of coastal land.
From the water hitting it and also hurricanes coming through from the Gulf.
Yeah. But when you're dealing with more and more violent storms occurring, that's also involving with the increase of temperature as a whole as well too.
Okay.
So you're saying it's going to equal out? Like it's going to drop or it's going to continue going up?
Well, there would have to be peaks and valleys, right, to those conditions.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, if one could assume that the temps are going up, they should come back down.
But they're also going back down because just as many record-breaking highs that we have in the country and in the world, we have just as many record-breaking lows.
And
That's not necessarily good.
I was about to say that.
Yes, it is. It just changes the time of year. That's all it's doing.
Yeah, but if
Yes,
it's
because we're pulling close. As time goes, you have to believe that the magnetic pull of the sun itself, that our solar system is orbiting around, is getting stronger, right?
getting bigger.
And you'd start.
Brighter.
It's growing, and at that point, it's going to pull everything in its orbit a little bit closer slowly. So that means Mercury, Venus, Earth, we're all getting a little bit closer. That changes your magnetic pull on the moon. That changes the tide. So now your seasons are going to be off kilter. It just rotates around, and it comes back full circle.
But that's still not good.
It's still not good. And then also
No,
consider-
At a certain point,
it's
a place like Venus
Men were not
could have
around
been
the last
occupied.
time that the Earth overtook itself and went through an ice age and then a fire age.
Yeah, I don't want to go through that.
men went through an ice age.
Men weren't there for that.
I know, and we
With
won't survive it.
SUVs and everything else going
And we
on.
won't
No, we had the
survive it when
Industrial
it happens
Revolution.
again. That's why I'm saying I don't want to be there for that.
Right, you won't be.
I hear what you're saying, though. It's not a fact of what we did as a people, but it's a fact of the environment we fucking live in is
it's
naturally doing this.
It'd be a different story if you came to me and said, look, this is what we found out, what we think is going on with global warming. You know, as a species, we should probably try and tackle this thing. No, you know how they came at me? This global warming thing is important. Now it's a political game, and we need to tax you on it.
So that's-
now we need to
that's
put a
fine.
tax on every fucking thing that you see and do, and pump. The minute I watch some kind of fucking Netflix original or some type of BBC wilderness thing, and they cut to that point of global warming, I turn it off because I'm like, you're not going to get my ratings. You're not going to get my little bit of money. I don't care. That's my stand I'm taking because it would make sense if you wasn't trying to take money out of my pocket for it.
I hear you. I'm right there with you too. I mean, it makes so much more sense that way, because
all it is.
It's an environmentally challenged ecosystem we live in because we live on this floating planet that we call Earth, right? And if one slight change in its axis or one slight change in basically any variable is gonna cause some catastrophic shit. So a consistent change just slowly over time is what happens to everything. We're just living on it.
That's why I promote so heavily. We need to leave. We need to leave this fucking ball, find another one, and then bounce again and again. And, you know.
I do believe on certain points of man's effect on our world. Okay, I do believe that when you take
Everything
a machine and you slam it into the ground over and over again, and you frack into it around tectonic plates,
Right.
okay, it's just basic science. Now that's a fact. Okay, those things are shifting. Those things are moving. Yes, we're helping it along. Okay, I feel you. But is it enough to say you need to stop pumping that oil, babe? Because, you know, I'll go fishing about half the time. No, fuck that. Keep pumping that shit out of the fucking ground.
So on a lighter note, you've heard of the butterfly effect?
Yeah.
It's like a butterfly.
Yeah,
flaps its wings, and it affects the
little
wings
gay
and shit.
kid was in it, and you could see the future.
And the future was all butterflies.
That's what that movie was about, huh? Yeah.
Not quite. It had Ashton Kutcher in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. What?
Didn't it make like 3 of them?
We don't talk about the other two.
Dude, I was waiting for Phil's interjection at some point.
No, I'm trying. No, because we actually did when I was in physics class. My professor is a geologist, and she does do all the global warming research. In fact, she actually is working with NASA on that as well too. And I do agree with you what you're saying about how the government is coming in for political reasons to basically, because of your carbon footprint, we're going to tax you for that. Mm-hmm. I want him because one of the questions she asked us on the discussion forum as part of our assignment was, what do you think if there was a tax in place based on your carbon footprint? What would you do to reduce that? How do you feel about a potential tax? Yada yada yada. And I just want him on them through the comments on my report, and I said, no, I don't do that to the people. We can't afford any more taxes fiscally. If you want to tax, if you want to do a tax, fine. Restructure the tax code first, before implementing a tax like that, or have it be a state-to-state issue or a federal issue for us, we the people, to vote upon. Me, I'd rather have a new tax code that is based on a consumption-based tax, like a fair tax plan or a flat tax, and we can go from there. The current tax code in place that all these other politicians want to fund their pet projects for, and tax the ultra-rich or rich, but attack on one group of people based on income is really an attack on all of us at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because money does have a trickle effect down through the classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And people are like, oh, what you talking about? That's trickle down poverty or trickle up, from rags to riches. I'm like, no, here's the thing. All those people with all that money, all those assets, guess what they own? Companies. What do they need? They need workers. What do they need the workers to do? To sell products. How do you get paid? After the selling of those products, everyone gets paid.
Right.
I'm not going to suck any rich man's dick. Is that, I want to make that clear. Let me explain. I make X amount of dollars a year and I can barely support myself and my living, but that's my own business. That's fine.
Right.
And people are like wondering, especially people on Lithuania, why are you defending all these rich people? Because, like I said again, you start fucking with the tax code that fucks with other groups of people. It's eventually going to fuck all of us.
You're right. It's exactly like what they're calling global warming. I mean, it's a thing that happens that causes something else to happen. It's reaction. I mean, that's the universe we live in. And no matter how you slice it, there's always something that happens after something's done.
One time this kid was like, bro, it's my 21st birthday, I want to go to a strip club in New Orleans. And they're like, which ones do you recommend? I said, none of the nice ones. Don't go to like Rick's Cabaret. Go to like Stilettos. Somewhere.
Fucking right, son.
When you walk in and you breathe in and the herpes are just in your lungs.
You can wipe the hepatitis off the
You can
stage.
smell the muff right when you walk in.
You can have sex with 14 strippers for $127 in 45 minutes. And that's a record.
So for all of our math whizzes
And
out
I
there,
did that on an election year. Bro, it's my 21st birthday, I want to go to a strip club in New Orleans. And they're like, which ones do you recommend? I said, none of the nice ones. Don't go to like Rick's Cabaret. Go to like Stilettos. It's just basic science. Now that's a fact. From Jim. Okay. It's just basic science. Now that's a fact. From Jim. Okay. Now that's a fact.
You're listening to Dank Swamp Rebellion. Thank you for listening to Dank Swamp Rebellion. Check us out on dsrtalks.com.
It's just basic science. Now that's a fact.